say on air? Thank you. Sorry for the delay. There were more technology problems caused by me. We'll try not to make them happen anymore. We're calling together the meeting of the Board of Assessors.
Guys, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I can hear everybody.
Can hear everybody.
Come through there.
I don't know.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we would, okay, thank you. Can we control the mute from here?
I'm just trying to. Go ahead.
It looks like Mike's here too. Okay, we're calling the meeting of the Board of Assessors. Today is February 12th, 2024, being held in the lower level of the Ritter Building. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live at the Public Access Facebook page, https://www.facebook.com/Lunenburg-public-access-cable- 157-427-270-975-305/. And will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube after the meeting. I guess I'll read that. http://www.youtube.com/user/Lunenburg-access/videos. The meeting will be held in person at this location. Members of the public are welcome to attend. Thank you for attending. This in-person meeting, please note that while an option for remote attendance and our participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item in this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. For remote participation, I'm going to read the other one. From a computer, please use the link below to join the meeting webinar. https://us02, that's a 02, web.909-174-0347 OMN equals 909-174-0347. Join the Zoom meeting. The Zoom meeting ID is 909-174-0347, or from a telephone, dial toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter your webinar ID, which is 909-174-0347 #. If you have not registered with Zoom, you'll be asked for your name and an email address. No participant ID is needed. Just press the # sign when asked. Telephone users may dial the *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak. The agenda will list all topics which may be discussed in the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. I will now call the meeting to order at 6:43. Sorry for the tardy. Opening comments. Do I have opening comments from the board?
Yes.
Please.
I just
Ms.
want
Cameron.
to. I just want to thank you and Rena for all of your work in reconciling the abatement values. Well, actually, computing the abatement values and comparing those abatement values to the new values that Mike Torello shared with us. I know it was a lot of work. I think you worked all weekend into another day. And then in addition to that, Becky being out at DOR this upcoming week.
Next week.
Next week.
Mm-hmm.
changed our timeline entirely, so you had to put all that together, so I just wanted to thank you both, because I'm sure it was a lot of work, and I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Mr. Rabbit?
There's no ongoing business here in the agenda.
Correct.
And we did the analysis with regard to the 41 exemptions. I'd like to give you the package, and if you could take a look at it, because I would like to ask us for a vote for the next meeting in terms of what the direction we want to go. The data is there. I pulled everything out I possibly could. There you go, Sarah.
So these are the copies that we can vote on for next.
Yes.
Fabulous.
It's not the end of the world. Okay, I also did have a chance to talk to Becky a few times this week. And the good news is that if you vote for something for the 41C, it does not, because they're different laws, that does not automatically mean that the other, like the blind and the veterans values have to go up or change, which is they're totally separate laws. So she's, you know, if you, 41C is, that's what the town will have to vote for, and that's what they will be voting on. So that was the good news on that particular piece. I've also had a chance to send you guys piles of stuff with regard to the website. Stop laughing.
No, I think it's great.
It's coming, and I met with Kara this morning, dropped some more materials off from this morning. We had a meeting and conversations last week. It's growing by leaps and bounds. And Sarah, your how to read the property card, if you have that, if it's close, I'm just gonna grab a spot and put it up there, and
A sample.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's okay. It's okay. It's not going out. It's not going to be official.
So should we, you're in public comment, so should we have this discussion later?
It's not on the agenda.
We didn't put anything on the agenda for that, so we can do it during public comment if
We can do it later if you like.
So I have made it, and I have a copy of it, and I was waiting for the values to be finished, and I will check it one more time and then send it to you. And that's definitely something that I can do quickly. I thought it would get approved at our next meeting. I was going to suggest that as new business.
All right, that would be good.
Just a suggestion, as long as you mark it sample or draft or something, then it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the other thing that wasn't on there, Mr. Chairman, was essentially the minutes. They're still not posted yet.
Yep, I know that.
Okay.
I just purposely left the minutes off because we had what I thought was going to be a lot to cover tonight.
Okay.
Okay. So.
But thank you for the feedback.
That's it for me for now.
I'm going to ask for if it's the pleasure of the committee, I would like to make a statement after we have the review of the 5-year evaluation. Before we go on to talk about the Assessors report, the impact statement, and the public disclosure, so it's just a brief summary.
Sure.
Thank you. Mike, you're online. Can you speak? Can you hear us? Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm supposed to open this also up to public comment, and we have some public here, and we have some public there. So first, is anyone on the Zoom meeting would like to speak? We're looking for raised hands. No raised hands will mean nobody's going to speak. Okay, thank you. Anybody here in the audience like to speak? Would you come up to the table, because we have a microphone here in the middle of the table. And if you move your stuff, they can get close enough to you.
Good evening, Phyllis Luck, 50 Sunset Lane. I noticed under current business, you're planning to approve the final draft of the Assessors report for the annual town report, the final draft of the impact statement, and the final draft of the public disclosure. In the spirit of transparency, I'm hoping that these 3 reports will be available immediately to the townspeople once they're approved.
So is it okay if I just answer during this session? The public disclosure is the form that will be going out with all the public disclosure information, and it doesn't have any, the data in it yet, it just has the form and the format and the words, not the numbers. So we could certainly share that with you, but won't have any numbers in it.
Mr. Chairman, once it becomes brought to this table, I was under the impression.
It is, and they can ask for it in public record request,
Okay.
and it's a 10-day delay. So I'm trying to make it available to them sooner.
Okay,
Thank you.
So
it's public.
if you request a public record, as you know, there is like a 10-day delay, and
It's
it's up to
much
10 days.
longer in this town.
And
Much longer.
there is a cost. So we're gonna try to send electronically and try to short circuit some of that. So that's actually something I wanted to address a little bit later,
Okay.
but thank you. It's a good question. And we haven't gotten to them yet, but the impact statement and public disclosure, they're actually, I wanted to approve them. We're not gonna be ready to approve them because again, we don't have the data. So we'll approve the format, we'll approve the content, we'll approve the wording, but we won't really have the data to plug into them yet because it's not available.
When will it be available?
That data will be available when the DOR preliminary approval is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we get.
So that data is not available.
Yeah, so one of the things I'm learning about the process that I did not know before is that we get the preliminary report from our vendor. It has to go through DOR before it's released as preliminary data at all. And no?
Let's
Okay,
talk about that
will
later,
talk
because
about it later.
I have a statement I'd like to make later
Okay,
on, so.
that would be
So
helpful.
we may indeed not finalize, we will try to finalize the,
We just
Assessors
don't have the
report.
dates. You have the content, you just
we'll
don't have the dates.
we'll be able to finalize the assessors report, because we have that.
So for town meeting?
We have, it goes in the town report.
So it's not available until you get the
No,
town
no, no,
report?
well, once we've approved it, then we can make it available to you, no problem. And
Great.
we have it electronically, so we can make it available to you without
As soon
having
as
to
we
go
approve it.
through a public records request.
Thank you.
At least that's my understanding, and if there's an attorney out there that wants to tell me I'm wrong, feel free. I'm gonna try to make this stuff as visible as possible to you,
Yeah,
as
right.
quickly as possible.
Great.
So, the other two will not have data in them, but I can certainly share the form with you. Is there somebody asking a question?
I can't tell.
And so when will the data be available? Once the DOR
Yeah.
takes, I mean, the DOR clearly approves anything. If they approve the 135%, they ain't very interested in the details.
They're doing, in their defense this time, I can't talk to the last time. In their defense this time, they are going through it with a pretty fine tooth comb, and it is gonna be reviewed by 2 levels of management, both our rep and her boss, who will have to sign off on it before it gets released to us. Our rep is actually supposed to be going on vacation next week. She's gonna try to finish this week, and her boss
That's
may.
Becky?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
And her boss will try to finish up as quickly as he can, and I will talk to that as well later. But none of these documents can be finalized because they will have data in them, and that data has to have been approved by the DOR.
And when do you expect that to happen? That
Sometime before the 26th, what's that month?
Our open period is the 28th to the 5th?
26th to the 4th,
26th to the 4th, thank you.
somewhere between that, again, I will address that in my comments in a minute.
and yeah, because the bills have to go out like by the 30th or
Who's looking for
31st.
something? Bills have to go up the 31st of March. That means they have to go to the printer on the 15th of March.
15th, right?
15. So when will the public meeting be?
You're talking about
The
the.
Monday, it's the 26th?
No, you're talking about what's it called? With the meeting with the select board, that meeting?
No, the meeting with the public to explain all this.
So.
So let us know what's coming up.
We can only do it once so I can't tell you the date until they tell me the date.
Till it's approved.
till
Till
the DOR
preliminary
has
expert.
approved the preliminary, I can't tell you the date.
So sometime between the 24th,
Between the 20.
26th, and March
Dur- dur-
4th.
No, but that is the disclosure period, and you'll have access to all the data at that point. Yeah. But,
So then,
so I-
public meeting,
Let me kind of short circuit this. Let's do the review with Mike, and I'll come back to you.
all
I
right,
will allow you to come back for public comment if you let me get my statement out.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. Is that
Thanks.
fair? Thank you, and I appreciate it. Your comments are right on, I get it. I think I can get most of it. Is there?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if I'm actually hearing any of the people who are online.
Well, we heard
Mike,
Mr. Alonso.
could you speak for a second?
Me? Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We just want to make sure the technology was working.
I was messing with the volume, so I just wanted to make sure, sorry.
So, so Mike, the
You
intention.
guys are coming in kind of skippy on my end, but I can
Okay.
hear most of it.
So the intention today, last week, we had a chance to go through in detail I'll say the residential piece. We really had just gotten the apartments, commercial, industrial, mixed use and exempts, and while you did present some of the data to us in the summary form, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page and that you could present anything you specifically wanted to talk about in those arenas.
I didn't hear that last part. I wanted to specifically talk about,
In those areas, in the apartments, commercial, industrial, mixed use, and exempts. We can bring it closer.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to.
We're trying to bring
Okay.
it closer to us so you can hear us. And I did not forward any questions to you about those. None were sent to me. So, you know, we may or may not be able to come up with a question or two, but if you could talk a little bit about, especially how the commercial was done. You said there are, I believe, 3 different methodologies you can use for valuation, and you had to use 2 of them. So if you could just talk a little bit about the 2 you chose, for what areas?
okay, I didn't hear a lot of that, but I'm gonna say that you'd like me maybe to discuss the 3 approaches to value, the process,
That's it.
and how things were done. I've already gone through the percent changes from the last meeting.
Yep.
But I'll talk a little bit about the process.
Thank you.
So again, similar to the sales, approaches to value are used. In the sales approach, or for the residential properties, it's mostly sales and cost. For the commercials, it's more, oh, yeah, I'll put myself on video, too, sorry.
Oh, thanks.
It's more involved with the cost and the income. So I think I spoke about the cost pretty well. That's basically the identification and determination of land values and the determination of building costs and depreciation. And then a calculation of value. So for the commercials, there are a lot more types of properties. Office, retail, apartments, mixed use, and some of the particulars within the commercial, also industrial, but service shops and different types of properties. So the costs to determine all those values were developed through Marshall and Swift, and then comparing them to the income approach. Also with the land was developed because there's really no sales, by doing an income approach, which is determining the market rent that a property would rent for, the vacancy that would occur at times, the expenses to operate the building, not the business, but the building, maintenance, insurance, electricity, and all those components, upkeep, and then determining a net income. Once we determine net income, we use what are called capitalization rates. They can be extracted from sales or taken from financials. Equity and interest rates, period of amortization, holding period, and capitalization rates are calculated from those items. Once we get a capitalization rate, it will capitalize an income stream. So if you have $10,000 of income and divided by a cap rate, you'll get $100,000 of value. So what happens is it takes a stream of value and then capitalizes it into a number or value for that date, time period. So once we determine the income approach and the costs, we do what are called income residuals, similar to the sales residuals that we used to support, along with the few sales we had, where we deduct from the income value the building cost, and the residual is a land value. And then these land values are determined by the different classes and then also by neighborhood. And all this information has been provided to the Department of Revenue for review. Once we determine these land values, then we apply those to the cost, and we have a cost approach value. We've already determined the income approach, and then what we do is we reconcile the cost and income. We use the cost as the final value because we're required to supply a building cost, less depreciation, outbuildings, extra features, and land. But the supporting value in most types of commercials is the income approach. So like the sales, we do a cost to income ratio, like we do a cost to sales ratio, to make sure that they're all within the requirements of the Department of Revenue. And in this case, in that 90 to 100 range.
Oh.
So the median for the residuals, I believe, was around 97, 98%. Very close to what the sales were in the 95, 96% range. And then we reconcile each group of properties to see that their medians for these ratios are comparable to the total ratio of the 97, 98. These are groups of apartments, industrials, commercials, mixed use, and then within the commercials we'll break it out to retail, office, service stations, and in the industrials, warehouse, manufacturing, other various research and development, those types of properties. So those are all looked at and dissected, and I've provided you those reports. I've provided you the value per unit, and I've provided you with the income cost comparison. The value per units will indicate if there's consistency of value per either apartment unit or square foot, if it's industrial, office, mixed use, retail. And those have been provided to you, and the income cost is a detail that shows the income value, the cost elements, and neighborhoods, and then the ratio of the assessment to the income or the cost income in this case. So those are all presented, and once that process was done, numerous reports were prepared for the Department of Revenue based on their list of required reports, and that was presented to them along with the residentials last week. And I think, as I had stated earlier, the commercial went up 6%, industrials went up 6%, and the mixed use went up 7%. The big increase were the apartments at 30%. I think they were lagging behind, and they're always continuously have been a strong increase. Those, along with the condos, were the two big increases. Most of the other increases were closer to the average. So now that all this has been done and presented to you, I've also, per your request, completed all the documents that were required by the Department of Revenue. I think the only one outstanding, Rena, is the map.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's being worked on.
yes, it is.
So I would suggest as soon as that's completed to send it to the board and myself for a quick review,
Okay.
and then we'll get it off to the Department of Revenue.
So this might be a good place for me to just jump in for a second. We had not completely finished all of our reviews, but because of the tightness of the calendar, the board decided to give permission for Mike to release all of our information, all of our data to the Department of Revenue for their review, so they could get a start on it. We are continuing with our reviews, but I just want to make sure that we are publicly saying we asked Mike at Vision to release that information to the Department of Revenue for us. Thank you, Mike, sorry.
But no, that's a good point. Thank you for clarifying it. I wasn't sure if everyone knew that, so.
I meant to say it before you
Um,
spoke.
So now we're at a point where I'm working with the Department of Revenue, answering their questions. Today, they had some questions for some condition factors on certain properties that had easements and topography, and they were wet, access issues, external issues like traffic and so forth. They wanted more clarity on that, so I gave them, I reviewed all those, went through them, looked at a lot of them on GIS map, checked them to confirm. We'd already gone through and looked at them in our peer review. And I further identified some of the land information report I gave them to give them a little bit more clarity. I spoke to the rep, went through everything with her, sent out the documents, and now she's reviewing that. So as of, I haven't checked my emails in the last hour, but as of about 5:30, 5:45, when I made it back to my home office, she's got everything that she needs on my end. And I'll stay available for her on a daily basis, rain or snow. And I will answer her questions immediately as soon as she sends them to me. Rena's been assisting me with this. We've been confirming on some things today.
Yep.
And Nate Kramer has also been assisting with me. So I had about a 45-minute to an hour work with Nate, just to go over some of the things. And I also
Hang on a
went over
second.
some things with
You
Rena.
just have- Thank you, go ahead.
And so we're continuing as a team to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're getting the information to the Department of Revenue.
Cool. Thank you very much, I appreciate the update.
Could I ask a question?
Do any board members have a question, is what I was going to say,
Bless you.
before I was
Thank you,
interrupted.
Okay, Mike, I was looking through some of the files that you provided, and one of the things that caught my eye was essentially the condo apartments, such as the Whalen apartment complexes. And I was wondering what methodology you used. Was that an income approach that you would use? Because now you're showing all the rents and some of the initial costs. How did that number get there? I just didn't understand that.
We did. I've been working with the Department of Revenue. They were able to assist me with some older rents, and then we compared the rents to time for time. We looked at the rents that currently from some of the other apartment complexes. We created a market rent, a market vacancy, a market expense, and then a cap rate. And then using the cap rate we have, using the expense ratios that we have, and through the development of our rent, did an income approach on it.
Okay.
On
But
those,
then I also reviewed that with Mr. Kramer, with Rena, and then with the Department of Revenue. For reasonable consistency, for those condo units per square foot compared to other apartment complexes for their values per square foot.
So even though they were condos, you put them in the regular income approach associated with apartments? Okay,
Is that?
based on, a reasonable rate for what they're getting for all of them, because
yeah,
they're renting them all out.
Yeah,
Because they're treating them like apartments,
right.
but they're not,
They're-
because
because,
of the documentation.
right.
It's cool.
Okay.
right. Right.
Exactly, they're
Thank you.
docked condos, but I don't think there's any owned by other than the owner, the one person that owns them all. He's renting them out, and Rena actually was working with me on some of the rents.
Right.
She had some information locally, which helped support the numbers that I put. Along with assistance from, the Department of Revenue. And the information we got from the market.
Yeah.
Also, although, because there was somewhat limited rental data from the market here, it's more rural community. But there were some income and expense that I used. I also used we did all the work in Leominster for this year. So I had all their rents and vacancies, market rents and vacancies and their economic market rents, with a neighboring community. So that was also supportive, and I gave all that information to Becky. So it was, when you're in a community where you don't have a lot of rental information, but you have a decent amount of commercials, and some of them are definitely similar to what's in Leominster, some are not. So some would be a little bit lower rent than what they would get over in Leominster, being a little bit more commercialized, a little bit closer to the highway. But some of your commercial areas where you have some decent stores and so forth are a little bit more similar. So all that was considered, the location, the type of property, was considered when using the support of Leominster to help fill in the gaps of some of the development of the rents, because I do have a lot of rental information from that community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great question, Mr. Rabbit.
Just jumped up.
Anything
It
else?
was a good question, and because that was brought up by Becky at the meeting,
Was it? Oh, okay.
so Jack, that was very good to do that, because she brought that up as one of the items that I noted, how we would have to value that a little differently because of the way that it's set up.
Thank you, Mike.
Any further questions?
That's enough for now.
I don't have any additional questions. Thanks for bringing that up, Jack.
Joe, do you have anything? I just wanted to say thank you very much, Mike, for making yourself available. I know 2 weeks in a row, that's gotta be a lot of fun.
No, I don't mind it, I understand completely,
And-
the whole seriousness and the concerns of the community, and how much work we've had to put in to try and get the product as accurate and efficient and up to market value. So I think it's really been a team effort by the Department of Revenue, our team, and your team. And I think that's what it needed to have.
Yep.
And so we've tried to do a lot of detail thoroughly many times, and it's good that now it's in their hands for them, two people to look at it who are very qualified. And as you continue to look at it, and then we'll have the public look at it, which is another part of the process.
Right. Thank you. You're welcome to stay. In fact, you might want to stay for the very next thing, and then after that, you can just feel free to go have your dinner.
I'll stay as long as you would like me to stay.
Well,
So if there's one more thing,
well,
good.
so this is the point at which I would really wanted to make a statement, and if I can, I want everybody to recognize the data that we're working with is preliminary. It is bound to change. It is data at a point in time. We have been strongly advised, not advised, I take that back, suggested, we've not been advised, no one has given us advice, suggested that we not share the data that is still preliminary. The people that have been working on it and reviewing it, from several different people that are here in town, several different people that work with us on a consulting basis, and other professional assessors have said, don't share the data, it's preliminary. We, as a board, made a commitment to share as much as possible. So we're at a conundrum. I have a suggestion. and I'll just throw it out there and we'll see what the pleasure of the board is. I do not want to post the data on the town website. But over time, these are now considered public records because they've been discussed in the public. If you were to make a public records request, it's up to 10 days. It costs you so much money to get the copies made, and you really can't get it electronically, you get a hard copy.
Which is terrible.
It's kind of, nowadays, useless. We, by the way, if we share anything, we will not spend any time defending preliminary data because it is just that, preliminary data. We are also planning to open the disclosure period as soon as possible after the Department of Revenue finishes their review and gives us their preliminary approval. Which means that in all likelihood, we will probably do more than the 5 business days of disclosure period that are required of us by the state. Right now, the schedule is for February 26th to March 4th. My suggestion is that if anyone wants to see the data, they please make a public records request of us. We will expedite that and send you an electronic copy just to you, because that's what you requested, and you can have at it. I would suggest that the data that we want to share are the reports that Mike sent us, so we know those are the official reports only.
The recent ones.
He sent us the residential, and he sent us all the commercial and stuff separately. Then they're
The
all
zipped
posted, you
ones.
posted them all out, they zipped them all out at the shared site. So I would suggest we share those, and the corrected abatement log. Because those are the pieces of data that are most important. I wanted Mike to sit in here. Mike also suggested that perhaps it wasn't the right time to release this. So I don't know, Mike, if you want to say anything, but I'm pretty close to done with my suggestion.
Sure. I'm not really one on the laws of the disclosure and so forth, but I would say that the initial reports that I gave you have been further fine-tuned and cleansed for what I gave the Department of Revenue. So it would probably be better to pull out the reports you want to send from that last batch I sent to the Department of Revenue, which was another cleanse after the first batch I sent you the week before. So I sent that to the Department of Revenue, I sent it to you, and I sent it to Rena.
Okay,
That was,
we'll get that posted out to a shared site, and then, so it makes sense to have them as up to date as possible.
Yeah.
As I said, it's changing data, it's preliminary, and I am not going to defend any of it, because it's going to have changed by the time I get around to defending it.
Well,
I've actually done some work trying to defend things and then found that it's already changed since then, and I've tried to defend it, and then it's like, I can't finish the analysis.
When we can't get other things done, we're,
Right,
yeah.
so, and that's just a suggestion. We can make a motion of any kind you'd like to make. I just want to throw that out there and say, we made a commitment. I think we need to stand behind our commitment and do the best we can.
yeah, so the only other comment I have is that normally nothing is sent out until disclosure is done.
Correct.
Unless the Department of Revenue feels that you're behind schedule and they allow you to go to disclosure without preliminary certification.
But we,
But then that would be noted.
right,
But I think under these circumstances, because of all the changes that had to be made and so forth, and you wanna have as many people look at it as possible, that I don't think they would recommend that. So again, because it will probably be fairly soon that the information is completed by them, I would recommend that you wait for the disclosure period, because that's the process, and that would be the cleanest, smoothest way to do it. That's just my recommendation based on my experience.
and as I noted, I heard your recommendation and several others. And at this point, I think the board needs to determine whether we want to accept those recommendations or try to do something else. And I thank you very much for that. I really appreciate your knowledge. I really appreciate your history of how you've done all this stuff. I know that you've been around the block a few times.
Couple,
And,
You and me
and
both.
I value that input. I can't tell you how much I value that input. So we have to decide amongst ourselves how we approach it. So thank you very much for that. I wanted
welcome.
I wanted you to hear that, and I wanted you to be able to state your case if you so chose. Thank you.
thank you very much.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
everything we're doing is.
I appreciate all the work you've
we feel
done.
is in the
Yeah,
best interest of the
Yeah.
town.
Yep, yep, so, cool. All right, I don't know if we need to hear a motion, do we need to hear a motion?
More discussion?
Would you like to do some more discussion? Because that's probably where we should there should be a motion on the table to discuss. No, maybe not, go ahead, because I just was able to talk off the cuff, so go ahead.
That's all right. Sarah, you first or me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I equate this to an engineering project that is continuously evolving. One of the things that's missing is we're not, maybe you are, but in terms of revision controls with regard to the dates, what's the latest and what might have been changed. I haven't seen a history sitting there. I hope we can put this together, especially if we release this in earlier and saying, okay, this is the date, these are the things that are changed, these are the things that could be pending. Something like that, that gives us something to stand. I don't know whether you guys, and I believe you might have, sent out the latest. I just don't know. And,
No, it
No.
hasn't been sent to us.
well, you guys have got it though.
No. What we've been working with, the analysis we've been working with, the original one that Mike sent us, because we were trying to pull a whole bunch of other information in there. Mike has sent us an update, we can make that available or not make that available, sooner or not.
And it was done in an email, so it will be dated.
It will be dated on the
Yeah,
email.
but you want to date each document.
No, well,
So,
we can get to that if we so
Yeah.
choose, but I don't know how, we can date each spreadsheet,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
But go ahead. Go ahead.
the original files that were sent to us, I saved them with what they were and the date in the file name itself.
Yeah, I just pulled
So
them all
it's-
down at once.
Yeah,
dumped them
so-
off in a file, and now I'm trying to go through it.
Yeah, so I did send an email that said these are all zipped together, here's where they are,
On a shared drive.
on a shared drive, so everybody who has a link to that can actually
Right.
see them, and when they download them, I'm not responsible for what they do after they unzip the file, but in the zipped file, the dates are there.
Yeah,
And we could definitely do that with anything else we decide to put out, it's not that hard to do. You just rename you tag the file with the date,
right.
and then everybody knows.
And the second point being is that I did speak to Becky and today for my other stuff and asked her, right now, I know her boss is taking it all over and going nuts on it right now apparently, and he's got.
Well, I don't wanna characterize it that way. No, please, just, don't characterize it that way. The process at the DOR is that our rep reviews it, and then her boss reviews it, and they're going through that process now, they're trying to accelerate it, he's not going nuts on her.
No, he's not
Please-
going nuts.
Well, you said that, so please don't say that, please don't
I didn't
characterize it
say
that
he
way.
was going nuts on her.
Those are
I'm
the
just saying
words, go
he's
look at it.
Digging into the project
So-
really hard.
So it is the process that is defined, they are staying within the process, they are trying to accelerate it. So he's already reviewed some things that she did, and there's been feedback from that. I don't know what it all is, because I don't have all those reviews.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you, thank you, go ahead.
Okay. So in this particular case, in the past, when we received the MFS report initially, there were two documents that were submitted. The first one was a review, and it went into a town mode, right? And later on, another document came out. It turned out that some of the residents had to actually go in and petition the town for that release of the earlier document. That caused a little bit of consternation, and all I'm saying is, as soon as we can, even if we've got what Mike has just sent over to us, put it up there, get it out there, and to your point, let's be as open as possible as we can possibly be. And we won't know when the DOR is gonna really get it done. Because we've released some earlier numbers in terms of somebody's going up 30%, other people are going up 7%. You've already got,
Summary numbers, yep.
yeah, and so let's get it out there, let's put it out there. What we have in a preliminary mode, under documentation control, so we don't mess ourselves up.
So I appreciate the suggestion of not putting it on the web yet, because if people ask us for it, then we can say, hey, these are preliminary. And then it's clear that that's not the official final version. We can say this is preliminary, it hasn't gone through the DOR review yet. We're waiting for the DOR review before we actually get to where we put the data. We're technically by law supposed to put the data out. I understand the assessor community reluctance to put that out there because it's nowhere, it's closer to done, but it's not done yet because it hasn't gone through the state. So I hear that and I understand it because I have once had several drafts of a document that had to get feedback through a committee of people, and it takes a long time sometimes, and what you initially put out can change quite significantly. And I also understand that you don't want to put it out yet because just the emails we are already receiving about stuff that we, for the most part, just discussed in one meeting last week, are already starting to get difficult to respond to. But I also like the caveat that you put out there that we're gonna send the data out, but we're not gonna respond to inquiries about that or comments about that yet because it's not,
My point, if someone has a comment, I have no problem with that.
yeah, but it can't
I'm not gonna
defend
try
it.
to defend it,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna spend all my time up to try to defend something that is now old,
Yeah,
by the time it gets anywhere.
but I also think with what the community went through last year, that, hearing that the condos are gonna go up potentially 30%, people wanna know what that data looks like to understand why it's going up. And so I do like the suggestion that the chair made. I think that's a good way to go. No disrespect meant to the assessor community recommendations we were given.
It was pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
We're- Yeah. So, where are we? Should we try to get the very latest that Mike has provided to the DOR and make it available?
I think we should say this is what has been submitted to the DOR. It's still preliminary.
And the abatement log.
And the abatement log. I think the abatement log
So as-
should be available anyway.
As
right?
as I fought through it and got it cleaned up, it came to the conclusion that the increases looked like something like 10 to 13%.
Oh,
Across all three lakes. Now, having said that, it was against the preliminary data that I got that is now, I think, out of date. So if I want to go back and reanalyze the thing, then I've got to try to get the latest data and it's trying to,
extract it.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So
it's a
that's-
PDF, right? And
Well, I took stuff off the spreadsheet, so I was able to pull stuff off the spreadsheet. Most of the latest data that Mike has shared with us has been PDF, and that's more difficult. I've actually found a way to turn that back into a
your
spreadsheet, but it's
PDF to Excel,
really
but it's hard.
bulky.
And you don't know if it transposes wrong.
Yep.
I've experienced that.
Yep. Yep.
And then you are potentially introducing errors.
Correct. So that report, the initial report that I put the abatement log on,
Yeah,
I created a pivot table. I don't know if either of you are familiar enough with pivot tables.
Yeah.
You are, okay. So I created a pivot table so we can cut and slice and dice that thing any way we want. Having said that, we're now looking at data that's 2 weeks old. So we can look at it, but it's probably going to get, number one, nothing but better, I believe, based upon the pushback and feedback from the Department of Revenue and Mike and Nate. So this would be, I would say, worst case. But
well, and then the other concern I have, which I'm thinking about is, we've put that preliminary out, and somebody calculates things based on that, and then it changes, and then they just keep coming about why did that change, and because it's preliminary data, and we recalculated it based on what the DOR reviewed, and we will never be able to satisfy that hypothetical person. However, still need, like, I think we still need to share the condo data. I still think we need to share that data for people to look.
Also, we need to keep in mind that actual disclosure, is scheduled to happen at the end of next week.
Yeah,
It's coming up quickly. So anything that we share now will be replaced by whatever
on
date we
Friday.
have on that day.
yeah.
So, anyway, I don't know where we go from here. What have we decided that we want to make? It's all public record. What did we want to try to accelerate the public records disclosure stuff on?
Well, that's the thing, it's also public record, so people are gonna
I
have
don't,
it.
I don't wanna hide it.
I don't wanna hide it. I just want people to have to understand what it is. And I think anybody who's asking for the data at this point is probably listening to every single one of these meetings. And
They're here and here, yeah.
we'll
Thank you for
we'll
being here and here.
understand that, so I
Yep.
and if I were not in this chair, I would be sitting over there asking for the
Clamoring.
data.
Yep.
So I think we should give it.
Um,
And as quickly as.
Which data should we give?
I think that the data that was submitted to DOR.
Okay.
Was the abatement record also?
Or wait, but the abatement record was on the previous data.
We have a separate abatement log.
Okay.
There's no reason why we can't share that
Yeah.
today,
Share the
tomorrow,
abatement log.
yesterday, I don't care when we, now that it's cleaned up, I think the abatement log is ready for public disclosure. I would not want to have shared it before.
So I would move that we immediately transfer the most efficient method possible, the least amount of paper involved, the DOR data that Michael transmitted and his abatement log.
So we're not gonna post it, but those people that request it will
Request it.
provide it.
Yeah, so the residential, commercial, and, oh my gosh, what's it?
Industrial.
Thank you.
Industrial
Yeah.
apartments,
Industrial
mixed
apartments.
use,
Yeah,
there's
those-
a whole list of.
Those
stuff.
sheets.
You have about 40 tables, I think. Close.
So if you forward those to me, I can just zip them and, put the date on the file.
Okay.
If you, or you can do it. You know how to zip files.
No, I appreciate the help, because I'm actually going to try to integrate the abatement log with the latest data that we have, so that I can come up with,
Yes, I understand what you're doing. You don't have to finish the sentence.
So the question is, how quickly do these people?
well, I'm not promising that until
No.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Because it took me some time, because I had to pull a whole bunch of VLOOKUPs to pull data from one sheet to another, which is not that hard, but, once we got everything.
So I wanna help with that
In similar
process, but I'm
terms.
not sure how to knock it. into
Well,
all of
that,
it.
we've had
Yeah.
several offers, very
Yeah.
gracious offers of people to help us with the analysis.
Yeah.
It's really hard to cut it up into little pieces.
Right, because it's the whole
Right.
thing, yeah.
So,
And we had all the documentation in the office where we actually went back and looked at the abatement, applications.
So-
And not anybody can look at those.
on the correction
not
of the
public.
abatement log, it took hours and hours and hours because we had to go through individual applications.
To make sure they
individual by
were right.
application by individual application to make sure they're correct. And I think they're correct. If we spotted all the errors, then great. If we didn't spot all the errors, I don't know how we'd know that we didn't spot them.
Perhaps.
On the
that-
log. It doesn't mean, I want to be clear to everybody out there, that does not mean your abatement application is not correct. It just means it's on the log incorrect, or was on the log incorrect. You got the abatement amount that you were supposed to get, it's all written down on the little pieces of paper, and it's well documented, it's just not well logged. Sorry,
Until now.
it's better logged.
Well, perhaps this is the good opportunity, is that people take a look at it and say, no, that's not right, that's not what I believe. And they can,
I'm happy to share the one that we have.
yeah, yeah, and we can flag that and say, no, that's,
Oh, we got a mistake, great,
yeah,
thank
let's
you.
get rid of another one.
I will be around next week.
Will be, hopefully, well, I'll get to that later.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So you were
Okay.
making a motion.
so,
That was the motion. Say we gonna second that?
I'll second.
any further discussion on the motion on the table? Just to release the latest data from Mike and the abatement log.
Right. And there's some sort of revision number.
It'll have a date on it.
We'll have a date.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll do that. May take me some time to get all that stuff in one place tomorrow. Because then, once it's in one place, then you can
Yeah.
just pull it.
Okay.
And the town hall is not open tomorrow.
Okay. On Wednesday. Thank you for raising that.
Because of the snow? Did you get close?
What?
Because of the snow?
The snow, it's close because of the snow tomorrow.
My school still isn't closed.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me take us off topic but on topic.
It needed to be
It's in the
done.
middle of this topic, but it really doesn't fit anywhere.
I really wasn't sure how to get it. I appreciate that you got that in. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
the next,
Yeah.
oh,
Wait, I have an appointment, but
oh,
Sorry. Did you?
okay. It's okay. Thank you.
I can go
Some,
get-
some of our local crowd is leaving. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Oh, don't,
You don't have to
Oh, I
apologize
get it,
for
but
leaving.
He's gonna be.
no, he's not seen, he's shooting here. Anyway,
Oh, there's somebody in the waiting room.
somebody's looking, somebody else has a question, I'm sure there's,
There's somebody in the waiting room. I feel terrible. I don't know how long they've been there.
oh, it wasn't a question, it was a, not able to log in?
It was, a person was in the waiting room. I didn't see it.
Sorry. We're juggling.
And how does our, oh, you can't see it there. I was wondering how the battery was going.
It looks okay. So the next thing on the agenda was to approve the final draft of the assessor's report for the annual town report. You guys have seen an earlier draft. This has a few minor adjustments. There's some updates from things that you added, Mr. Rabbit.
Thank you. He says draft.
It still says draft because it's not approved. Oh, Mike, are you hoping?
I'm gonna head out.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all your efforts and your ability to stick with us till the bitter end.
I appreciate all the guidelines you sent me too, by the way.
You're welcome. So I'll continue working with Becky, we'll be working even if it's snowing, so, anything we do, I'll make sure I talk to you guys on it.
Fabulous. Thanks very much.
Okay, have a good night.
You
You
too.
too, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye now. This is the draft of the annual town report. I'd really like to take a couple minutes and just read through it. You have it, but you have it. And if there's something in there that needs to be fixed, amended, changed, great. The last page is actually the data that we'll be attaching to the bottom of the other page, but I'm not sure it's gonna fit on one page. So we'll be attaching it.
All right, I'm just gonna.
We are gonna take a minute to read this, sorry.
Is it North Worcester or Worcester North Registry of Deeds?
It's Worcester,
Is it Worcester North?
that's the way it's on their website.
Okay.
Which I'm sure is perfect.
The reason why I asked is I had to build something for that site.
How loud is that? Sorry.
Assessor operations can be, to a very large extent, waste of resources. Bless our heart. We have Rena, what would we do without you?
Yeah. I didn't want this to be adjective filled.
That would be the report, the MFS report stated 4 people?
Nope,
No,
it
it didn't?
it's right here. I knew you'd ask. I don't know. Nobody knows.
I'm hallucinating.
I'm just gonna use the MFS report because that's what you reference.
Yeah.
Sorry, the question here was, how many people did the MFS report that was for the, after the abatements,
Yeah.
how many people did they suggest we needed to add? And they suggested we needed to add at least one part-time person. So that is gonna be noted in here.
All right, so that would take it to 3 then, in addition to.
One part-time, I don't know what,
Yeah.
2.5, I don't care what the number is.
Okay.
It's-
That's fine, thank you.
I had
Typo? goes first,
Just a couple
or
of,
content?
no,
both?
just a couple of like just little wordsmith things and depending on how you like to use a comma.
I'm happy. Wow, okay. Let's make this as, oh,
First page is good.
it's supposed to be and historic, but I'll do A, I don't care.
Is it?
I went and looked it up,
Because it's,
but, you know, depending
because
upon where
it's a
you,
consonant. Consonant,
depending upon
consonant.
where you look,
It's all
you'll get two different answers, so I'll go with either.
Shouldn't ask him. Is she? I feel for-
Renee, were you trying to ask something?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, sorry.
Right. On
And Renee, I'm trying to get you your answer, but office is closed tomorrow, so it'll be probably Wednesday.
That's okay, thank you.
on the second page, Brian,
Yep.
2/3 of the way down, the Assessors Board has developed a property tax program for use at the senior center to explain the options. Is it a program or an orientation?
I don't, call it what you like. You're in charge of it, so call it what you like.
Oh, God.
Nope, we'll put it right here, what do you want to call it?
Just call it an orientation. But on the other hand, we're gonna be doing this a lot,
What?
going to the senior center and doing updates, is
I
that?
don't know.
I don't know either.
So it's not a program as much as, right now it's an orientation.
Orientation.
You do it. That's fine.
Right.
I think it only needs to be done once,
Once a year.
unless
Yeah.
we were to change the exemption amount, then you might want to do it again.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. And these are the actual numbers? No, they're 222, okay.
What?
Let me know. if
No,
my
those,
notes don't make
the
sense.
town report is done on a fiscal year,
Yeah,
not a calendar year. So everything there is correct. It's
By
what
no
was
means
done
the best
for
Oh, okay,
fiscal
so-
'23.
Just
so your actual FY
trying to
'22
make more parallel
is what's
structure.
sitting in there right now.
Yes.
And the tax recapitulation is for 2023, and we don't have any numbers for those?
What?
Okay,
This-
I'm reading this, and I'm going
this
down
is-
I
that path.
haven't looked at the numbers.
This is all that occurred in '22
Right,
for the, we're working on the fiscal '23 town report. So it's the previous year's numbers that went to the town report. It's
So,
not a calendar year, it's a fiscal
fiscal
year.
year.
well,
That would explain my question to you. We're going back a year.
for the town report, we're going back a year.
Yes, it's hard to wrap your head around.
It is, because right now, we're at 24,
It's-
and we're
it's-
working on 25 for
it's-
next year.
It's confusing, and in fact,
Yes,
last year's assessor's report was confused.
yes.
So,
Put in for a calendar year.
So, I'll let you, Mr. Rabbit, read the changes that Ms. Camera has suggested, and if we're all in agreement, we'll use that as the document, I'll fix it up and we'll send it off.
Sure.
I like that fix.
If it's the pleasure of the board.
Were you a school teacher?
She was?
I'm being
Yes.
funny, I know her well. You're-
That doesn't come from teaching school, that came from being schooled.
Oh, hurt me. Where's the curving in the morning? Yeah. This is the site inspection office coverage, data analytics. And so that, okay, if I've got one lead assessor, all right, and I have one Sheila,
Where's
showing the
clerk.
the clerk,
The clerk.
and including the site inspection person,
No, this is the functions that the office has to fulfill.
right, and there's a data analytics piece that we were talking about too.
These are the
Yeah.
functions that we are now doing with
So
these limited
our work
resources.
breakdown says there's gonna be 3 people covering 4 areas? or
No,
something?
we're not.
No,
There's gonna be.
No,
Read this the way
Principal
it's.
assessor, your clerk, your principal, or your assessor's clerk,
Yeah,
and then, a part-time person that's gonna a data collector would go out and do all the building permits,
Right, right.
all the sales,
Right,
all the inspections.
right, that's
So,
right.
so this is not,
It's really 2.5.
this was not the budget request we placed recently. It's merely a report of where we are.
Where we are?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
where we are is we have one interim lead assessor and our temporarily short one assessor clerk. That's all this is saying. This is reporting
Yes.
history.
Okay.
As far as what you
So
want to
from what
do,
we
and what
have
we
in the
like to do,
past.
we've already made our statement to the,
What's been going on, this is the summary of this year. And it says most of our analytics is done by outside vendors.
Right, right, right.
And
That's
most
how
of
we
our data
compensated
stuff
for it.
is, had to be done by outside vendors, because
Mhm.
how else would we get through this?
Okay.
right, so
I don't know,
how would we have got through this without outside vendors?
right?
We wouldn't
No.
have.
Not at all, not at all. And of course,
It-
volunteers who spend a whole
Well-
week in an office looking at logs, thank you,
Yeah.
again.
Oh,
I
your
really
wife-
can't thank you
oh,
enough.
so-
Or your wife hollers at you for you just blowing up 2 weekends
Uh-huh.
in a row, good weather.
Two.
What are you doing? Well, no, just the weekends.
I know.
Mine every
All right,
night.
finish
Let's finish
reading
that.
Okay, I'm sorry. This includes site inspections. And committed. To enhance visibility, okay.
Did I ever make this of our dog?
She's an artist.
Took it as a picture and tried to do it like this. iPad's one.
So
That looks good.
therefore,
To see
comfortable
the
with the,
trend
I'm very comfortable with it.
of the coronavirus, two dead people, somebody. that was-
Class.
I wouldn't get-
We're all going bumpy, you know that, don't you?
sorry. Do I have a motion that we accept the
So moved,
amendments
so moved.
as projected?
How many people are gonna read that?
Everybody's gonna be in town report.
Yes,
I
it's
know,
gonna be the
I know,
town
and they're gonna
report.
go through and look at our spelling and punctuation.
No, they're
I
gonna,
appreciate that. Yeah.
no, this is fine.
Yeah, it's good.
As amended by Ms. Cameron.
Right, right.
Did you move?
I moved it.
You also amended it, right?
He-
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry,
I just wanna
I
give full
thought
credit.
this was the final document and I was supporting it because you had
He's
actually
changing the
amended
one,
my.
the word from program to orientation.
Okay,
Yeah, that's all.
So we're
Sure.
done. As amended
accept. Sorry.
by both of my colleagues.
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Why?
This is it. Throw the other ones away because anything beyond that gets confused.
Yeah, write the date on it.
Please.
I will write the date up. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really important at this point.
It is.
I keep hole punching all of these reports and I'm just gonna, like,
It's awesome.
it's gonna be like the draft of my dissertation. And
Gone?
The many drafts.
Thank you. Thank you for all your efforts. The next item is what was supposed to be the final draft of the impact statement. We can't have a final draft of the impact statement because we don't have the numbers, but we can agree upon the wording
Okay.
of this impact statement. This, remember, Rena, explain where the impact statement goes, please. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Her eyes are bugging out.
The impact statement should be posted in the town hall, it should go to a newspaper, it should go on the website, any public spot, so people know. No, wait a minute, that's the,
This is-
yeah,
It's the final.
I'm
this is-
talking about disclosure. You
Yeah,
just handed the impact statement.
I did, that's what I
Yeah.
said. I started by
All right,
saying
and I was-
impact
I
statement.
was-
She's talking about disclosure.
Disclosure, because that's, I didn't see this one today.
No, I know.
Because you took it home.
Tell us what an impact
So
statement
the
is supposed
impact
to do.
statement is to go out to anybody that, especially with second homes that don't live in the town, that just don't have access to coming into the town hall. Anybody that lives out of the town and has second homes will get a copy of an impact statement. So if they have a home and say they rent it and they live in
So,
East Overshoe, they get one, so they'll know
Right.
what's coming down the road.
so this gets mailed to whoever holds the
Yeah.
the record, has the deed,
Right,
the
the
deed.
record owner, right,
Record owner.
right.
The US Postal Mail site of the owner of the property in town.
So if it's owned by a trust, it gets sent to that trust address,
Yeah.
for example.
Correct. You'll see in here, there are a few TBDs, because we don't have them here.
Okay,
But as long as you're comfortable with the words, with the wording, and Rena, this was one based upon the impact statement that we had, basically
Right,
cut and pasted anything that said that town is now, says Lunenburg, or changed
Right.
everything else that I think was appropriate. You can read through that if you can see any mistakes or errors, feel free, but I'd like to get us to approve the baseline here. We'll include the data when we get the data.
Mr. Chairman, if I ask a question?
Yes,
Okay, there's a second home, and we have a separate tax for that, but there's also,
it's not a separate tax,
no, it's part of this. I'm
personal
sorry.
property,
Doesn't it, personal property, the contents of the second home?
correct.
Right, okay.
That, so they'll get an impact statement, because they're second homes,
Second
and
home.
it'll give the value of the
Right.
property. That's basically what they wanna know,
okay.
what the assessed value is,
All right. Of the personal property contents, the
actually the property
Property.
itself.
property itself. So we're
Right.
not doing anything in terms of notifying them about the value of the furniture and
No.
all this other stuff?
No, they'll get a personal property tax bill. If it's under $2,500, they don't even get a bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of the second homes, it's used old,
I know-
hand-me-down furniture.
You
so.
know, I had a business and they used to every year send me, what do you own for equipment? and things
Well,
like that.
That's
got
different.
nothing to do with
That's
this.
got nothing to do with this.
This is the
Okay.
whole PP,
No.
personal property thing that we were doing with RRC.
I'm gonna read this now.
Let's take, thank you.
When you know, I was still thinking of the disclosure notice.
Sorry, I put them out of order. Of the order that was in your head.
Yeah, right. When do you have the disclosure?
I
notice?
do.
Okay.
Okay, drainage property. I'll throw that log on the fire, yeah.
By the way, this is based on the one that came from Weston. So it's been reviewed by wealthy people.
And the Department of Revenue.
And you are.
That statement, underlined statement,
Well,
the town
I
of Lunenburg.
wanna get some, I wanna get some feedback from you guys on that. Yes, because
Is it always gonna?
it doesn't have to say that.
Could we say, please examine it closely? Or something.
Now's the time to make an adjustment.
Is that the statement of anticipates the actual
Uh-huh.
tax rate may
Is it
increase?
increasing significantly?
You know,
We don't know.
typically, no, you don't know, because typically, when the valuation of the town goes up, the tax rate typically
Right,
comes
that's
down.
what's doing now.
So, the valuation went really up a lot last year, so the tax went down.
Not the
tax
whole
rate-
town,
I
not the
know,
whole town.
I know, no, in total, if you put in total, it went up last year. And,
And the tax rate dropped about $3.
right,
That's typically what happens, when the value of the town goes up, the tax rate comes down. In
and,
some cases, somebody could actually be paying the same amount of taxes
correct,
as they did the previous year.
correct. So that statement can come out. It was in there for Weston.
Yeah, I only have one minor objection, It spelled my name wrong again.
Oh, that's just my fat fingers.
Okay.
There's no A in rabbit?
Not this time.
Rabbit.
And you pick on me.
I was doing this in a hurry.
Rita, he picks on everybody.
Brain?
I do pick on everybody. I don't pick on Joe, because she's always right.
Of
And I
course.
have proof. She sent me a note and I am scalded by it, thank you.
The sentence,
Uh-huh.
the town of Lunenburg anticipates the tax rate may
Yeah.
increase
I
significantly.
left it there just so we could talk about what, if we wanna say anything.
Yeah, I think we should leave that up, because you don't know
We
what
don't
I-
the
know.
council is gonna do.
It'd
It
be
was,
better
it was,
to
it
tell
was a
them it's going
decision
up.
to say, let's have the discussion, as opposed to me making a recommendation on that one.
Well, that's why you underlined it.
I think we should leave it.
It was underlined by them.
I would rather, have it in and have people pleasantly surprised that it's less.
If we have the data, no, when we have the data to plug into this thing,
Yeah.
right? We probably know. Oh, we have a pretty good idea.
Not till 5.
That's true. That's true.
You should
So,
have your classification there.
I'm torn.
Yeah,
I wanted to have the discussion about whether you think we should put in a cautionary statement about the potential for the tax rate to go up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think just drop the word significantly. It just says
I had
may
it,
increase.
I had taken it out and then I put it back.
well, there's,
No,
I mean, we could get into syntax of how we define significance.
yeah,
Right.
go all over the place.
Right.
I don't know what happens.
Because, I mean, that's statistic,
Right,
that's a statistic number from,
usually, yeah.
yeah.
I had 2 people crying on the phone on the lakeside of it when that happened. And we don't need to spook them again. And they're still not trusting, and they're still.
So
May.
worried about-
May,
Yeah, may increase.
May.
So, who wants to have the master schedule? Have you made some
Well,
changes?
And the tax,
Suggested?
well, here's the thing, the tax rate is the dollar value per thousand.
Correct.
The assessed amount is different.
The assessed value.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
the assessed
Yes.
value.
The values are indeed going up, as we
Yeah,
heard.
so we know those are going
Right.
up, but I don't know what's gonna happen with the tax rate.
I don't either. I wanted to have the discussion, that's why it's
Yeah.
on there. I just don't know
Because
what
the
to say.
tax rate is the dollar amount per
Per
a
thousand.
thousand.
Right.
So we don't know what that's gonna be.
But it goes.
So I would rather say it may increase significantly than say nothing.
Oh, you could just put, it may increase.
That's what
Take
I
out
was
the
saying.
significant.
May.
Yeah.
Get rid of the word
I tell you,
significant.
Alright,
I
I
swear.
crossed it out.
I swear, I take
I
it off.
also-
Everything goes up in
I also
Weston, so-
corrected the spelling of Jack's name, and I put some commas after the ends of years, and
Oh, you know, I meant,
I suggested, that last sentence before the bold, it was just confusing, so I broke it into 2 sentences. If you wanna see what I wrote, Jack, here, you can take it and then pass it over.
oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's just, and I try to make it parallel structure again.
For change.
Oh, there it is, okay. Market trends, period, these were derived, yeah.
There's a couple periods
And
missing
then
too.
when you got rid of that
I
one.
cut and
you
paste
changed
from that one, just change the format.
It's okay. I'm sure I'm gonna find some of the document I've been playing around with. That's why everybody needs an editor.
Oh, absolutely.
I like it.
So as amended by Ms. Cammer,
Second,
we've taken out the word significantly.
Yeah.
We've changed whenever to when. Yeah. I agree.
And 2 sentences.
I agree, and
And
2
then-
sentences,
yeah.
okay. As amended by Ms. Cammer, would you like to make a
Yeah.
motion?
yes. So moved.
And I'll second. Since
I
you made the
accept my
amendment, so
own
you-
edits.
All in favor? So today is 2,
That's the
12,
12.
24.
That's one less piece of paper for me to hole punch. Thanks.
So, just by way of clarification, Becky indicated, our Department of Revenue rep, that she's going to be asking for these soon, and when she asks for them, know that we're close to being done.
Oh,
So, hopefully soon means sooner, but who knows? This is the public disclosure that we will have to post.
okay.
Again,
That's the one
Okay,
where,
that's the one.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay, I
the
was
one
just being
that
a
should
gentleman,
be,
that's all.
it's okay, I can,
Let's,
that's the one that should be publicly put into a newspaper, on the website, any places in the town hall, that- on a board that people might read.
library, senior center, town hall, on our website,
Yeah,
on,
in a newspaper if
in the
you have
newspaper.
one.
I don't know if there's, I don't get newspapers anymore, I'll bet you somebody does.
a lot of people get the ledger, I think.
Yeah.
By then, the disclosure period will be over.
Well, I got
They
the-
publish once a week, right?
Then put it on your website, that's the best place.
So,
And we'll hang it up publicly in a few places.
so I put a highlighter, the yellow didn't come out on the highlighted numbers, where we may be changing numbers as we get closer to the end. I included a highlight on the day Monday as our beginning date, because we don't know if it's a Wednesday, we'll do it on a Wednesday, so that we can extend the disclosure period beyond the mandated 5 days.
Okay.
And again, that's just from another community, everybody does the same thing.
Most communities do 5 business days, and they
Yep.
only do 5 business days, and I'd really like to
No,
extend it this time
I
if
just
we
meant the
can.
disclosure.
No, I
numbers.
know, yeah.
It's pretty
Right.
much,
You got something to fix there? Fix it.
No, I mean, I know we can abbreviate Massachusetts with Mass period,
Oh, I know.
but we don't,
In official documents, why don't you use Massachusetts?
yeah,
So I can change it.
or MA. I mean, if we're
Capital
gonna,
Then you'd have to put
if
a
we're
period
gonna,
on it.
Capital
we're-
MA
if-
with no period.
if we're gonna abbreviate,
Go
let's
for
get
it.
the maximum.
So,
I think Massachusetts is good.
Because every time I see mass, I think density and volume.
Yes.
so, Mass Ave?
It bothers me.
So you wanna make the adjustments on yours, and that way I have the official one until, and then Jack, Mr. Rabbit can review it, and make sure that we're all on the
Sarah,
same
you know what
page.
else bothers me? When they say mass appraisal, is it Massachusetts?
Oh,
Or is
that's-
it
that's
just the
that.
mass
That means-
appraisal?
that means-
It's mass, right, right, so it just keeps getting worse. By mass department, okay.
I really, I'm glad you write out that it says a calendar, what calendar year it's from.
Instead of CY.
Mm-hmm. And also that you specifically say 2022.
Instead of,
It's just so confusing.
it is.
It is.
I have to think about it every time I go to speak.
The commercial class increases due to typical change. Would it help us if we listed off the others?
The other's what?
Like it's, then most of the others are around 6%. Since you're listing 2 of them, or
well,
3 of
those
them.
are your predominant classes.
Right, everything else is.
Residential and
small.
commercial, everything else is a subset of those.
Or negligible, so, I mean, mixed use.
Mm. This is
That's a subset of
Apartments on
residential.
average, we get commercial class increases due to typical, we can approximate percentage. I'm just thinking that if we're putting numbers down, we might as well put numbers down for the other parts.
The front hall of the town hall. Is there more than one hall?
Excuse me?
Is there more than one hall in town hall?
Yeah.
Okay,
Upstairs is called the hall.
okay. I just never thought about
It's
that.
actually called the Bellata Room now, so I'm not sure it's called the hall. But there's a hallway upstairs as
But
well
there's
as a
no place
hallway
to post
downstairs. No, I
anything.
know. It just says downstairs in
In
town,
the
in the
front-
hall, in town hall, which
In
is
the
kind of.
front.
In the front entrance?
Whatever.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean the very front entrance, it could be in the,
It could be anywhere along the hall. You got it right, I just,
so it's one of those, okay, we can
it's
fix.
just hall
Yeah.
twice in one sentence.
I know.
so it's like-
Oh, there's gonna be a line out front.
Maybe. We've been pretty clear. And open.
Very many details.
And,
I already
you know,
told us, what's my number gonna be? And I go, I don't know.
the data is,
Don't entertain those.
the data has been well done. I mean,
This is the,
there might be a line, but that's,
I'm feeling good about that. The line will
Yeah.
be the inquiry line in
Yeah.
terms of how you got there. But, you don't think so?
no, he's laughing at my notes.
No, it's, yeah,
What?
so, okay.
What?
Take a look.
Is it something I wrote?
No, you crossed off
Increase.
average in, excuse me, the in on the average, and I started crossing them off, I said, I don't know. So I probably should have just done that. This is a disclosure statement that was from, that used another, that was from Groton. Do you know who wrote this one originally?
No.
Somebody in Groton.
Could
I've
be.
been using the same one for 30 years.
Well, there's a sentence fragment about apartments.
Yep. Fixed it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, this list is
This
gonna have everybody's address on there, every name?
No.
This is just a
No.
general.
This is posted.
Just
This
general,
is the posting. This
Okay.
is
This
just,
just posts so
this-
people
so
know
now-
that.
right.
and then our data will be out on the web, right, at that point? No.
Yeah, and
Yes.
public disclosure.
Public
Yeah.
disclosure,
We-
disclosure,
we-
Just people
We
know.
released that to the website at that point.
disclosure. I should have not watched Super Bowl last night. So tired.
Then you can't get to sleep
And then I
after,
don't
it's so
speak
wild.
properly.
Wow.
Sorry. All day long. Disclosure, not disclosure. I don't even know where that came from.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I made a couple of changes.
So you want to accept that as
Oh, there's a
edited?
spacing change there too, I like
Yeah,
that, yeah.
I had trouble with that one.
Well,
The
it's the
headers
auto,
were-
it's the auto formatting. It's very annoying.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I'll fix those. If you guys approve them.
And move we accept
The
the
changes.
changes
to the
on this
disclosure.
particular document
the
dated
style.
what?
To the
224.
style. We'll still have to approve the numbers, right?
Oops, 2/12/20.
We still have to approve the numbers
We have
for
to
both
approve
of
the
those
numbers.
previous.
None of the numbers are approved.
Yeah.
This is just the layout. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. See how easy that was? This ought to be the easy part. So when do we meet next? So, before I say anything, it's been difficult setting up a meeting for the 15th because there are no locations available, virtually no locations available. When I get a location that's not available, then it is available, but that's okay. We, I don't think, actually need a meeting on the 15th,
Okay. Great.
unless anyone else feels we do.
I'm only, as long as you guys come back and read it, if you have any questions.
No,
Yeah,
this,
just-
we'll
I'm just
take
trying
care of
to
this
make
at the next
schedule.
meeting, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, because we have to get that, then we have to approve it,
So-
we have to take the selectmen to get them to put it on the, if we approve it, we have to get the selectmen to approve it, to accept it.
And
But
that,
we
to
all
get into the
assign it.
warrant, right?
Yeah.
So when does the warrant, when does it have to go in for the?
I thought
And then we can backtrack,
early March.
because then it also has to
I
get on
think
the
it's March
selectmen's
14th
agenda.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
I think it is too, but I'm not sure of that, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
So we just get it, and I think that if we agree to it, I'll draft something, and we'll all sign it, and then we can just submit it.
So we'll look it over and
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the next meeting. So the question was,
when is the next
when is the
meeting?
next meeting?
I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna take the 15th off the table.
Okay,
It was only there in case the Department of Revenue had an oh my god.
yeah,
I just spoke with Becky at 5 o'clock, 5:15. She
okay.
said, I don't anticipate any. We did ask for some changes, some, that we talked about a little bit earlier. And we are still waiting on map. Her boss at Scott,
Scott.
wow, shot,
Good
good.
one.
Has actually looked at some of the data, he has some questions, he had some pushback on some stuff. That is some of the stuff that we're working on right now, so they are looking at it sort of, she's looking at it first, then they're looking at it sort of jointly in parallel. So, she said, I don't right now anticipate there's gonna be any problems with
Okay.
finishing the approved preliminary numbers, that's what they're called, right?
Yes.
She will be out after this week, so she's gonna finish up her work by Thursday
Of this week.
of this week.
Okay.
And then it has to go back through her, or finish going through her boss for final approval. Once that approval is set, I think we've agreed that we will try to release the day of or the day after because we
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as we can.
need to process it. So, okay.
Okay.
It's a possibility it gets released on a Friday, we don't get to do it till Monday anyway.
Yeah. So, I don't know what that means for schedules exactly, but the 19th, the Monday, I could.
Holiday, so
Oh,
nothing's open.
yep, nothing's open. I could do a meeting on the 20th.
The 20th is a
It's
Tuesday, and I
Tuesday.
don't
You don't
do Tuesdays. It's someone's birthday here, Rena.
Uh-oh. Yep.
39,
Yeah.
Jack Benny.
So I,
Soonest we could potentially
just
meet.
a heads up, I cannot meet on February 28th or 29th because I have meetings.
Oh, that's good to know, but yes, thank
Wednesday
you.
and Thursday.
We
I wasn't planning on either of them, but
will be right in the middle of the disclosure period, right?
I
Okay.
might be, I can get out of the Wednesday one if needed, but Thursday, some kids are getting an award, so I have to go. And
So
I'm
you're saying
excited for it, but like,
The 21st is a possibility?
yeah, I mean, my father-in-law's visiting, but,
It's getting recorded. He could be watching right now.
no, he's fantastic. He'll-
Oh, okay.
And he really loves the band concerts on the Common, yeah. So,
So the next meeting could be as soon as the 21st, which is the
Yeah.
Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yes,
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
21st. At least you could go to Thursday, because that's my date night.
So we probably ought to think about something shortly thereafter.
Following Monday.
'Cause
We-
we really
we've
haven't, we've been putting a lot of agenda items on the back burner for
I
a
know,
while.
I could do the 26th, it's Monday,
That's the Monday that we are,
a disclosure.
that disclosure must start by, or that
Yes.
we're currently scheduled for disclosure. Could you do the 26th, Mr. Rabbit?
Yeah, in fact, I've got it in there. You
I
canceled that last meeting.
I tentatively just threw it out there, but,
Okay.
and then should we
Um,
meet during any other time during the disclosure week?
So that is, unfortunately, that's gonna be a little challenging for me unless it's on Friday, which we're not open, the buildings aren't open. I could do Tuesday,
27th?
yeah.
Versus the 26th.
So I don't know what to expect during the disclosure period
Yeah.
as far as how much we might be called upon to do stuff.
The Wednesday thing, I could probably move if we need to. I would appreciate maybe a heads up on the Monday,
The 26th,
yeah.
so we have potentially the 21st, the 26th, and the 28th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to look into March?
Well,
March 4th is the end of the disclosure period, which is the next Monday.
right,
That would be our BOI meeting then?
Yeah.
we should
I'm just wondering.
know
No.
what happened, we should know what happened through disclosure by March 4th.
Yeah,
Is it of any value to know that? I think it may be.
Mhm.
Or should we wait until a couple days to let the dust settle?
Depends on how many people you have.
Given the challenges in finding a time for us to have a room, maybe we need to put a couple dates in that way. Sorry.
No, that's okay. March 4th,
Okay.
May the 4th be with you.
and then,
I don't want to meet that many times.
And see, I
I'm
hope
just
so.
saying these are the times I'm available.
I get it. I don't want to either. Neither does Joe. I mean,
I think that's all we should put on our, well,
possible meeting dates, 21st, 26th, 28th, and March 4th.
yeah.
All right.
The next meeting should be scheduled for the 21st or not?
Are we hoping we will be able to open disclosure by then?
What day of the week is that? That's
It's a
yes.
It's a Wednesday.
Hope so.
Well, I think if we need to take a vote on something and get it in front of the selectmen in time for the warrant, we probably do need to meet then.
So, we do have the option of doing an emergency meeting if something pops up. Just an emergency meeting, it wouldn't have to be posted as long. I don't want to do that unless we have to.
When is Nate coming in to report? So his package, we have to go in front of the town, right? In terms of
That's March 12th or 13th?
March 12th. But don't we want to see what Nate's gonna say before that?
He could send you his presentation ahead of time. It's fairly simple. It's just, are you going to a split rate or are you sticking with the single rate?
Right.
I don't know what he does for a
Yeah.
presentation.
I've
all
seen
need
some
to
others and they're
meeting?
bigger than that.
I don't know what he does for a
On the
presentation.
12th?
That's a Tuesday, isn't it? It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
I can be there.
That's the 12th. Or is that the, I'm sorry, what date is that one?
The 12th.
The 12th, right?
I can do that one.
What's that called? Tax, the meeting?
Tax classification.
Classification.
I can do that if you
That,
think.
that is, I'm going to have to actually skip my Tuesday thing for that.
That's your Tuesday, 9:30 in the morning
No, it's not.
though.
No. So that's March 12th. So we have 4 dates. I will tentatively set one up for the 21st, and we'll work from there.
The
Yeah.
26th, the 28th, the 4th, and the 12th.
I'm thinking the 4th is probably one we want to have. So let's tentatively set up those 2 as actual meetings, the other 2 we'll set aside in case we need them.
If we can't get it on if we can't get the room on Monday the 4th, we could maybe do the 6th. It just has to start at 6:45.
It's okay, we can do that.
Okay. So I'm March alternate date 6th. Okay.
6th.
Maybe.
So, just another thought, this is sort of related to this timing of meetings.
Mhm.
The question we heard earlier today during public comment was when we'll be holding a disclosure meeting. I'm not sure we have to hold a disclosure meeting, nor should we, but it was an interesting question, and I thought we should at least talk about it. Rena, do you have an opinion?
We've never done that. We've just had public disclosure. People would come in, look at their property record cards, look online, ask questions. Never had a meeting.
So,
Years ago, before there were websites,
Oh, okay.
what people used to do, like, at that time, our vendor was Patriot Properties. They would set aside a whole week, Monday through Friday.
patron?
Patriot. They would bring in 3 or 4 of their people. And then people would come in and sit and talk to them about their values or what they thought was wrong or anything like that. But since, you know, websites have come along. None of them do that anymore.
So, someone approached me and said, so will you be having someone sitting in the assessor's office that entire week? And I said, no, nobody other than the people who are supposed to be there.
I
So
mean,
to answer questions specifically how to read my,
During the disclosure week.
I cannot be there. I'm
I
working.
know. But I just thought I'd share the question that was asked
Yeah.
of me, and my answer was no. And my secondary follow-up was, could we get someone like one of our consultants to sit there?
You don't pay big bucks for that.
It's gonna cost us through the nose. Bless you. Bless you.
Bless
thank you.
And I don't think Mike would have the time to come out and do that.
So what is it, just open up the book and say this is your number?
Essentially, here's how to read, well,
Do we have any senior who wants to do senior tax work on?
we're still working on that. But anyway, yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't know how we would do that.
I don't know how we would do it either.
I mean,
If they
I
come in
understand the intention, I just
Mhm.
don't think we can execute it, we don't have enough people.
If they come in, give them the property record card, here's your new value, here's what it is, look over your card, take your card, look it over. If they're not happy, file an abatement.
Just
Give them a
these
big
dates
form.
on my calendar.
No, we're not gonna give,
You
no.
can't- You can't give that till after we've sent the tax bill.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good. Boy, I could give them a form. No, they can download it actually.
If there's something glaring on somebody's card that can be fixed at the time, we can fix them at the time.
Correct, as long as it's not more than 10%.
So I wanted to at least share the fact that we were asked, and my answer was no, we can't.
So Nate gives us.
I would love to be in my house between 8 and 4 any of those days.
So Nate's gonna give his town report on the 12th.
That's just for
Not
the
a town
classification.
report.
rate.
It's-
I'm sorry, the tax classification.
Yep, do you want split tax rate or single tax rate?
Yeah.
We don't have enough commercial to bother with a split rate.
Right. And so at what point does this information get loaded on, into the property card?
It'll be on. Rita? I think I can answer the question, I don't wanna, I think she should.
No, what information are you talking?
Okay, we're gonna have a new valuation on the
Right.
property card, right? When is that new valuation gonna actually show up on the property card, someone goes to
For
the
the
GIS
actual
site?
bills.
Yeah,
For the actual bills.
bills,
When that's approved by the Department of Revenue,
right. What's the date on that?
well, it depends. It's probably after disclosure is over. It depends on how quick they turn around on it.
So if they come in during disclosure to look at their property card, what's gonna be on there?
The preliminary value.
There you go. So they can
So-
see their,
And if it-
no, that's,
if
the reason I wanted to ask, the
nothing
reason I wanted
changes-
you to answer it, because they can see the preliminary value.
On your property card.
Yep. Now, having said that, if they have a change, a suggested change, we can then evaluate whether that change is real
Mm-hmm,
or not.
right.
And we can change the card, we could change the card at that point.
If it's something like there's an error,
Yep,
we have you down as a ranch, you have a two-story colonial.
Yeah.
We have you down as colonial, you have a ranch. That's an error.
Yep.
You can change that.
Yep.
If it's just that I don't agree with your valuation, nope,
Mm.
it's no change.
the disclosure period is to look for errors
Errors.
on
Okay.
your card.
So I'm just looking for a date so I can tell people.
What?
I'm saying, so the
Some-
preliminary value is gonna be loaded, preliminary now, don't say anything different now.
Thank you
Okay, preliminary is gonna be loaded on the card
for disclosure.
for disclosure, when?
February 26th.
Whenever we say
March
disclosure's
4th.
When
open
we-
up,
When we get,
because I
So-
don't wanna say the 26th because we're trying to open it up early.
Okay, but it'll at least be during that 5-day that we're
The
required.
required 5-day disclosure period, the data will be on their card.
Right.
I just, Okay,
Because
it's
all-
the vision cards that will be updated.
Vision
Because,
cards.
yeah,
The CAI cards, I have no idea, they just don't,
They
They'll
don't
be
talk to anything.
yeah.
By the way, there's a problem with CA, new CA.
Well,
card.
stop that, please. We're not
I
on
know.
that. We're not on that. So, when we have
preliminary.
preliminary approval from the DOR, all the cards will be updated at that point accurately with the preliminary values.
They should be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can go look at those cards at that point, we can then release those cards to everybody and just say, go for it, have fun. Play with your card and tell us what's wrong.
Because once you get preliminary, if it's the same way, and it's been a few years, Mike will go in and adjust the tables. You know, put the numbers, that's all approved in the tables. We calculate the town, the cards get automatically updated from the tables. And then we can just, somebody comes in, make a copy of their card.
Right.
It's got their preliminary value. If nothing changes, those preliminary values get to be final values.
Correct.
So we can say to people that call you on the street and say, when am I gonna see it? I'm gonna say roughly the 26th, thereabouts, roughly, it's a preliminary number. And if you go and check it, you see something, contact the office and,
It has to be something that's wrong on the
An error.
card.
yeah,
It can't be the,
you can't complain
It's not
about
just 'cause
that.
Can't
My-
complain about the value.
My value's not that big, well, yeah, it is.
Well, yeah.
It's gonna have to be an error.
That's, once we get it approved, you can go file an abatement and come back and check.
No, you can't file an abatement until
Till
you
after
get your
the
tax
tax
bill.
bill.
yeah,
And
Just
the
keep
tax
things
bill-
in order, otherwise we're gonna get screwed
Yeah,
up. Because
once
people will
the
be
tax bill
filing tax
gets
bills.
mailed-
Tax bills are targeted to be mailed on the 31st of March.
Right. April, okay.
and they have until May first.
May 1,
Abatements.
as that's been the calendar for quite some time.
Yep. I mean, it's in my head, alright. Takes a while for me to.
I don't
get
think
to my
that's
head.
true, but go ahead.
May
I
first.
think you pick up that quickly, so thank you.
That's when you pay it.
Well, you also, you have to file your
That's when
abatement.
you have to
That's the
file the
last
abatement.
date.
If you
That's the
wanna
last
file your
day.
abatement and you haven't paid your taxes, don't bother,
Right.
You have to
Right.
pay first.
You have to pay half of it, I think.
something.
I don't remember.
Is
I
there,
don't remember that number.
Well, in a normal year,
What's that?
you would have gotten your preliminary bill in July, and then your actual bill for February, for the January 1st.
right,
And you've already paid 2 quarters, so then you could file an abatement.
so we
This time, they're paying 3
have
preliminary
already
bills,
paid 3
and they're
preliminaries.
gonna be paying their actual, their 4th quarter is gonna be the actual bill.
So,
And it will probably be higher.
Yes.
Yeah, probably
I
had.
don't know what it's gonna be. No,
You're
couldn't
right,
say.
you're right, you're right. I
Well,
shouldn't say that.
it will be
Because
higher,
it is really dependent on what piece of property it is.
it will be higher if it's new construction.
Yeah.
Then they're going from a bill with vacant land to now a constructed home.
I mean, we have an average of 6% increase, right? Well, not even preliminary.
Yeah.
Prelim.
Those preliminary numbers were 6%
Yeah,
across the town.
that's what I'm referring to.
So, okay. So nobody's gonna be sitting in the office with you, good luck?
Sorry.
Am I gonna be in the office? No.
What?
I'm gonna put that skeleton in the closet.
Oh, that's a great.
It was actually a cardboard cutout of a skeleton. I was
Oh,
gonna
must
put-
have been for Halloween or something.
I was gonna put it in the chair. Sorry,
Talk to my assistant.
but we digress.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any public comment from the public who are watching us today on Zoom? As I think we're done with everything else.
Renee's still there?
I think there are probably several, but
So, yeah, there are just a few people left. Did you guys hear us? Is there any public comment?
we're looking for hands. If
I
you-
heard you, no comment.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Renee.
Hearing none, will any public comment from the board.
Just
Mr.
a real
Rapp.
quick one that I pushed out there, and I shouldn't have probably. The property cards, the CAE cards,
CAI.
CAI, yeah.
You can say cartographics, we'll all know.
Okay, cartographics, yeah. From what I understand and what I've done is, you're looking for topographies and things like that, the outlines or the screens that, when you get into the GIS, you can look at basically what does the topography look like? Are there any other areas of critical environmental concern? Those types of things. That wasn't there. At least the person said, I gotta show you this.
Yeah, probably because we don't pay for it. Those are all add-ons you pay for with the mapping companies. You can have wetlands, you can have.
Well, how's Conservation Commission gonna,
Mass GIS, usually.
Mass GIS, is that where they're gonna go?
Well, that's one place you could go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I was used
And
to be,
it's, and it's free and open. Or
okay,
you could use the National Hydrology Data Set, there's a ton of different ways, we can talk about it.
yeah. No,
Or
that's good.
or we could pay more money to a consultant.
Okay. I'm good.
Oh. Any public comment? Ms. Cameron?
I just really wanna thank Rena and Brian again for all the work you did the last week. I really appreciate it.
I am going to
Oh,
sleep, I am going
sorry.
to sleep at midnight for Christ's sake, for the last
Sorry,
23
Jack.
When
weeks.
she sees your website, she's gonna be really thankful.
You know what, I'm
see.
sorry, Jack, also you, I was thinking about the numbers, I
I
was
know,
not
I
thinking
know.
about the website.
Yeah. And I keep sending stuff out to you guys in enormous quantities,
Yep.
and
And so, I don't respond, cause
it's too much already.
we're not in a meeting,
Yeah.
okay?
If you find something out that is not correct, I agree, the wording around our vision and mission, that's a meeting kind of a thing, but if there's something else that's missing or doesn't fit, just tell us,
Okay,
just tell us.
okay.
Because we're just kind of charging along as whatever we can do. It's gonna be
Yeah.
too big. Like this, by the way, I do apologize for screwing up royally last week.
So,
No, it was the worst presentation of my whole life.
water over the dam.
I
It's
went,
over,
Just don't do it
let's not
again.
relive.
no, my cardiologist told me what happened, that's all right.
Just-
I went there today.
Just don't do it again. My comment is, thank you all for allowing me to sort of go off the agenda, but be on the agenda and make some statements that are sort of out of order for what we normally do, because it felt like it needed to be said.
Yeah,
So,
it did, thank you.
thanks. Do I hear any other motions?
I motion to adjourn. I move to adjourn.
Second,
Do I hear, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
We are getting out of here at 8:37. Thank you
So
all,
noted.
thank you
Bye,
all
everybody.
for sticking there with us.
Only 2 hours.